Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'm doing update or part 2 to a story I did about 2 months ago, which was titled, My Ex-Life is Imploding After I Exposed her Affair with My Best Friend. And guys, as a recap, because this was a couple months ago, that's about a guy. He is, I believe, 23 years old. He's had his best friend, actually no, my bad, he's 26. Had his best friend since he was like 16. They were inseparable, brothers, all that. And at the same time, he's had a girlfriend for 5 years. And long story short, he discovered that his girlfriend and his bro were having an affair. And how did he discover this? Because he noticed recently that his best friend and him, their friendship was really falling out. His friend started really acting like a jerk to him, insulting him, making these snide comments, stuff like that. It was really out of place. Couldn't quite figure it out. And at a party, his friend got drunk and snapped at him and attacked him. And attacked him with like a board, and he fell to the ground, was kicking him and almost stomped him in the head, like just crazy, tried to kill him. And obviously after this, that's when all the pieces came together, and that guy went to the hospital, and he found out from her, because she was having a meltdown about the whole thing, that they've had something going on. And obviously her parents found out about this, and he's done with her. It was a big freaking mess. And the crazy thing is, this guy was a very good, loyal friend to his buddy, as well to his girlfriend. But he was too nice to her, as you all recall. And his buddy, he was trying to help him out with his career, but he wasn't moving along with it. But the guy writing the story really was. So you got pure freaking jealousy, envy, all that on the friend side, and just a freaking low life with the girl. Now we're going to pick up where things left off to see where things go. And let me tell you, it's interesting. And also, this is definitely long, so I will, at this point, cut to the chase. It says here, so I haven't felt the need to update until now, because I kind of need advice again, or just reassurance on what to do. As so many have asked for an update on the whole situation, I will try, but going into too many details will make this far too long. Well, this is 11 pages long, so it's already long. The situation I need advice on is the bottom paragraphs. Sorry this is so long again. I didn't mean to, but when I started writing, it just felt like the need to get everything out of my mind. Well, people like good stories, so don't worry. He says, as for starting off with his buddy Mark, he says, Mark, everyone told me to press charges. I don't know, maybe many of you are Americans with too much belief in the justice system, or watch too many TV shows about lawyers. It just doesn't work that way, at least not in my country. Well, he was trying to kill you, basically, so I don't think it's a problem pressing charges. But yes, Americans do watch too much TV, I'll give you that one. I talked to 2 attorneys, and the outcome was I could press charges, but him going to jail is highly unlikely. The most likely outcome is that he has to pay for the trial and pay me a settlement. Might be a large fee, and could be a small fee, because I wasn't seriously hurt and no longer lasting damages. Okay. Make him pay you a fee. Get something out of this. My friends could testify to the severity of his assault, but the judge will most likely rule that the damage was not actually done. He might get probation, but not jail. Then let him get probation. He deserves to be taught a lesson for what he did. He says, so yeah, I could maybe ruin him financially, but then he could press charges to Tom and Bill, and there's a bigger possibility they would end up worse from that case than Mark from mine. As they did break his nose and give him a concussion, and with a decent lawyer, he can make it out to be having lasting physical effects from it. Lasting physical effects from a broken nose. They attacked him to protect you. So this could be months up to years of dealing with this, and I just want this over with. His reputation has suffered. He lost some friends. Some say they will stay neutral. His older brother told me that he and his parents have expressed their disappointment in him, but aren't disowning them. But his younger sister took it really hard. She used to joke that she considered me as her older brother at Mark's expense. Lighthearted jokes, not very cruel. She also looked up to Emily, so she took it hard and has refused to talk to Mark. Emily is his now ex-girlfriend. He did send me a long apology letter, but not once mentioned Emily. Just his behaviors towards me and the assault. It was sincere, but not heartfelt. He owned up to a lot of things, but blamed others on his mental health. I have not responded and will not. Mental health. That's always the excuse over here. Oh, it's a mental issue, therefore this guy or gal should get a pass for their very lousy actions, and I call bullshit. As for Jane and Katie, some of you, after I commented that they told me that Mark might have been abusive to Emily, and they might know more than they let up or were sticking to her. So I kind of played dumb, talking about how I couldn't believe I didn't see the signs, if there were any signs at all. And yes, they knew about Mark kissing Emily, but claimed they didn't know the extent of it, just that Mark and Emily were spending time together, and Emily told them he kissed her, but she dealt with the problem. And if you recall in the first story, guys, that this Emily chick claimed that, he was always calling her and sitting close to her and putting the moves on her, but she didn't want that, even though she kept being close to him and wouldn't let this guy know about him coming on to her and all that. And there was just so many things in that story from her that didn't add up. And he just knew she was lying and something was going on. I didn't really believe that was the only thing they knew, as Jane got very defensive when I confronted her more about this. That had a domino effect as Tom got mad at her for keeping it a secret, and what else she isn't telling him. In his mind, if she can keep a secret like that, what else can she keep secrets about? So that has caused some strain in their relationship. I'm staying out of it, but told Tom not to get angry at her for my behalf. Kate did come to my home and ask to talk, and she genuinely didn't know. She just seemed kind of walked in and on the kissing conversation, and Jane and Emily downplayed it. Later, when asking Jane, she told Emily that she had dealt with it. There's so many names in this story, guys, so for you guys obviously saw the first story, you know what I'm talking about here. She swears she took it as if she had told me, and she had no other idea what was going on. And I do believe her. She seemed very genuine and apologetic, unlike Jane. I don't hate Jane or resent her, but I'm disappointed and frustrated, so I've been LC, low contact, no contact with her these last few weeks, as I just feel no interest in being around her, which has affected slightly my friendship with Tom, as I've been hanging out with other people instead. So these are the side characters. Now we're going to get on to his ex, Emily. Meltdown Emily. So there's Emily here. So where to begin? Many of you said to go no contact, but I know myself. It would drive me insane not to being able to get everything off my chest and find some sort of conclusion to what the hell happened. It's not going to accomplish much, but if that's what it takes for him to move on, then so be it. As long as he doesn't buy into her waterworks and all that drama. And one person messaged me saying that he was raised to face problems in person, and that resonated better with me than going no contact, though I did plan to do that after meeting her again. I also had to apologize to her parents and get my car as it was still at their place. So 4 days after the incident, I called them, asked if I could come by, talk to them, and if they would speak to me, let me speak to Emily again. They actually were relieved. Part of me thinks they thought I was planning to forgive her or something. So I went there, we talked, I apologized, and they said they were disappointed and shocked at me yelling those hurtful things, but understood that I was going through a lot of emotions and a bad place. And then we hugged it out. Then they went outside again, and I went in the living room where Emily waited for me. That was interesting. She walked towards me with the saddest face I've ever seen, and asked for a hug, but I said no. And I asked her to sit down and talk. Like, oh, no. We're not hugging. We are going to lay all the cards on the table, gotta know everything, and then I'm fucking out of here. I asked her to tell me everything again, and asked if he was in any way abusive, as Jane and Katie implied, and she gave me the same version as last time with some additions. Oh, extra stuff, imagine that. She said she didn't fully realize at the time. She just felt that the situation was her responsibility to fix, but the reason she couldn't do it or come clean was Mark. He threatened her with telling me himself that they kissed and they were in love, that she was cheating on me. When she tried to cut communication with him, he said these things, and that would ruin our relationship and the friendship between me and Mark, that I would believe him, not her. So, I really feel bad for this guy. He's got the girlfriend cheating and saying these things. He's got the best friend who freaking attacked him and almost killed him. And obviously envious and after his girl. This guy's in a horrible position. So she felt trapped to dealing with this on her own. I asked if he was physically abusive, and she kind of hesitated and said not really, but on 2 occasions he did hurt her, not badly, but to the point of pain. What the hell? Why didn't you speak up? One time at an event when we were all together, he got her alone, asked her if she really didn't love him, and she said no, and to not do this there, and tried to walk away, but he grabbed her wrist and wouldn't let her go, and dragged her closer to him and hurt her wrist. Again, why she didn't say anything, right? I remember that night. I remember about halfway through, Emily went quiet and distracted, but told me she was just tired. The second time was similar, but they were alone. and he grabbed her bicep and squeezed it, and she got bruises. But I don't remember any bruises on her. I would have noticed and asked about them. Maybe she had them with an IDN. Well, remember when they had that big fight in the first story, and this guy attacked him, and he ended up going to the hospital? Remember, she reached out to him. This Emily chick. She reached out to the guy that attacked your boyfriend here to see how he was doing. But she didn't reach out to him. So I'm not buying this whole song and dance, woe is me, and he was doing all this. Maybe he was, but she's got that attachment to the abusive guy thing. But regardless, they're both assholes. So this guy needs to say what he has to say, hear what he has to hear, and move on. I also asked if it really wasn't sexual, that his intentions were obvious, and why she kept putting her in that position. She just said she didn't know, and she was just being stupid. How many times have guys heard that? But they never had sex. I also asked why he had so much power over her that she, for a year, couldn't find the strength just to tell me. Why she believed I would trust his words, not her. Again, she said she didn't know. This is like dealing with a little kid. Why'd you do that? I don't know. Why'd you do that? I don't know. This is a grown-ass woman. She should know. This is bullshit. She kept just making mistakes. I asked her why she ignored me after Mark attacked me, but not him. She just started crying and kept saying she didn't know why. She just thought our relationship was stronger than that, and we would bounce back, and she was worried what Mark would do. How many times you heard that line? I thought our relationship was so strong. Our relationship is strong to get through anything, blah, blah, blah. This is just one piece of bullshit after the other with her. They deserve each other, frankly. I said that was the reason that hurt me the most, that she was busy worrying about him and did not worry about me, that she chose him. She says she didn't choose him, but I stood firm on that. That's how it felt like. Then I explained how much she and they hurt me. All the trust was gone, and we were done, and I would done with contact with them. She asked if there is a point in the future we could be in each other's lives again. I said no. Good. It's done. It's over. Your girl and your best friend and all this bullshit. No. But it was eating me away that there are so many things I doubt in her story, so I reached out to Sarah, 27-year-old female, Emily's best friend, and said that I was just destroyed and felt like nobody around me was telling me the truth, and I begged her just to be honest. Good luck getting the truth from her BFF. To my surprise, she answered. It appears she knew a lot, but Emily kept her out of the loop with many things. She knew about Mark, and she said that she told Emily to stop talking to him and tell me about his behavior. She knew about them kissing and that Emily regretted it and was the one who stopped it from going further. She told me that to begin with was that Emily felt validated. She used to like the dynamic in our relationship where I needed her support when my career was struggling and full of rejections. Validation, huh? Now, remember, this friend of hers, she's telling him things that girl was telling him. So again, I would take some of these things with a grain of salt. Not like I was constantly crying on her shoulder or relying on her money, but on many occasions she was my support system, the one who took it upon herself to cheer me up, hug me, cuddle, motivate me, and make me believe myself and keep going. Early in his career, he was really struggling, and it was finally at the end that things started taking off for him. And he made it clear that he really put this girl on the pedestal, and it's just like a good boyfriend would, but nowadays that's interpreted as weakness. The kindness is interpreted to weakness. He was too good to her. He was too nice guy. And look what happens to nice guys. And when my career took off, she felt that dynamic missing, but then Mark was in the position that I was in, and she could give her support to him and feel validation again. What I tell you about attention and validation. I was just baffled. Sarah said that she was too when she told her. I asked if she felt validated by the sexual attraction for Mark, and Sarah said Emily never really talked about that, but as a girl herself, and knowing Emily for 20 years, she told me she suspected that was part of it too. Of course, women like it when guys are into them. Even if they're not into the guy, they still want the attention and validation. Then I asked, as I've been fearing I might have been delusional about being a good boyfriend, if she ever talked bad about me. Maybe I did something to drive her into Mark's arms. Don't blame yourself, dude. Sarah said not really, that Emily always sounded very much in love, and talked often about how happy she was, how I made her feel special to the point that Sarah was almost jealous. On a few occasions, Emily did call me overbearing, clingy, and I would sometimes shut down and be selfish, but never anything worse than that. Well, you can kind of tell this guy probably was a little clingy. That's my gut feeling. But there's no excuse for what she was doing and all that. Since then, I kind of think Sarah has been flirting with me. She texts me every day, at first just things like how my day was or how was I feeling, then memes that are kind of sexual. But I have no interest in anything with her, so I guess I'll have to shut that down. I don't want her thinking I'm leading her on. So the best friend is hitting on this guy. Not surprised. It continues, he says, so I'm just trying to come to terms with all this. Trying to move on, and then about 8 to 9 days back, I get a text from Emily. Oh, what could Emily want? I blocked her on all apps and social media. We always communicated with those, but rarely with our phone numbers, so it generally slipped my mind. Or maybe I subconsciously, I didn't, I don't know. I just said, how have you been? Followed up with her saying she smiled and laughed again for the first time because of me, and a photo of me on her TV, and how proud she is of me, and she looks forward to seeing my career progress. Get to the fucking point. She's just trying to sweet talk this guy and hoping that he's cooled down, will forgive her, give her a second chance. No, don't take back cheaters. He says, I work in the entertainment industry. My big break early last year was a job behind the scenes, which progressed me to getting in front of the camera. I am by no means famous, and it's just a little show, although growing in audience and popularity since we began. Not in the main channel or anything. I made the mistake of responding, and we chatted for 2 days. Smack! You're just rewarding her behavior, how she treated you and all that. I get that you're with her 5 years, and you can't. It's very hard to get over someone after 5 years, but all that with a best friend, you can't believe all the things she's saying. There's just too many holes in the stories, and her actions demonstrate everything you need to know. No, don't put yourself through this shit, dude. I kept my distance still. If she texted, I just waited until I was in the mood to answer or finish what I was doing first. Then she asked if I could find in my heart to let her live my life again. If only in a small way in the future. I said I needed more time, but unlikely. I told her I couldn't keep doing this for my mental health, and said goodbye, and blocked her. Good. Cut ties, move on. And yes, if blocking here is what you have to do, it's what you have to do. Again, I thought this was over, but then last Friday night around midnight, I get a knock on my door, and lo and behold, there stood Emily, soaking wet in the rain, like some freaking scene in a movie. Oh, for goodness sake. See, she knows this guy. Remember, guys, women have a certain perception of you. Good luck trying to get them to change it. Her perception is, this guy's in love with me, put me on the pedestal, and if I just wear him down, eventually he'll break, and I'll get him back. That's her perception of him. And he has to be strong. But the only thing missing here is him saying she showed up with a trench coat and she was butt naked under the trench coat or something like that. I asked what the hell is she doing here. She said she was out drinking and wanted to see me, but got cold feet as soon as she left the taxi and stood by the road for 10 minutes, but was too cold to wait for another taxi to show up. So I let her in. Smack. That's what she wants. And I gave her some old sweatpants, a t-shirt, and a hoodie of mine, and gave her a bag to put her wet clothes in. So the story is her girlfriends peer pressured her to go on a girls' night out, but she didn't feel ready, but went anyways. They're all drinking, and she gets her favorite cocktail. That was funny when girls said they had their favorite cocktail. But we were together, but went out on our own. We used to have this thing where we would message each other all night with funny things that happened, inside jokes about situations, or just send pictures of our drinks. The fancier, the better. Yeah, you sound like that kind of guy. We were that annoying couple, yes, always on our phones, talking when we separated. And she instinctively reached for her phone to send me a picture, but then she realized she could never do that again and felt a wave of sadness. Oh, poor her. She drank some more, and then after telling her friends she didn't want to meet or talk to men, they invited some guys over and told one of them that Emily was single and he was flirting and trying to get her attention. And her friends kept creating situations, leaving them alone together, and she had enough. Right there, did you hear that? See what the friends do? She also told me that the guy was boring, uninteresting, and pathetic and ugly. Ouch. Emily rarely talks like this about people, which brings me to this point. He says, I know sober Emily, tipsy Emily, and drunk Emily, and drunk Emily. She seemed to be on the tipsy, drunk state, but usually she's very giggly and bubbly then. Now she was completely cold and distant. Never looked me in the eye, opposed to laugh when I met her, where she looked at me with so much sorrow and regret. She even almost talked into a monotone. Never ever seen this type of Emily. Like she was a different person. I was tired and just so weirded out in my mind and went kind of blank. She just sat there with not saying a word. I went on the taxi app and ordered her another taxi, but after 15 minutes, the app said it was still searching for a taxi, so I thought screw this and offered to drive her home, as I didn't think her staying over was a good idea. It wasn't a good idea having her stay over. It also wasn't a good idea having her come in. I knew driving her home, again, you can get a taxi, Uber, Lyft, whatever. And I suspected that was her agenda, and I was calling out her bluff, but she just got her things and went to my car without any protest or saying anything in general. In the car, the mood was still weird. Yeah. No matter what, she's getting your attention and getting you to spend time with her. She's hoping to wear you down. This is the things that gals will do to try to get a guy back. She asked me to choose the music, and I said yes. She asked to hold my hand while we drove one last time, and stupid me said yes. Smack! You're playing into her hands, man. I get she was with you for a while, and you're hurt, and your emotions are mixed, but don't do this. And then she just sat there and looked out the window. Never looked at me. This attitude kind of disarmed me. My mind was blank, but in a lame attempt to lighten the mood, I joked about driving her back to her friends, and maybe Mr. Pathetic was still there. She just shrugged, said she was done with men forever. And all they did was abuse her trust, manipulate her emotions and goodwill, and put her in a lose-lose situation. Like you're manipulating this guy? I don't know if that was to stab at me, Mark, or both. I asked her why she said that said that, and she shrugged again and said, seriously? She also told me Mark sent her a letter asking her to move in with him to another country, but she threw it away. Then we just drove in silence. When we approached her parents' home, I felt her squeeze my hand like she didn't want me to go. When I stopped the car, she said nothing, just went out, not even looking at me, and went inside. Okay, she's gone. She's out the door. You did your little good deed. No more. Otherwise, she's going to just show up at your house, show up at work, and try to wear you down until you take her back. And then she'll realize, hey, no matter what I do, I can get this guy back. When I got back home, I, of course, found her underwear in my bathroom, but in a place besides the laundry basket where clothes would often fall into. That's not an accident. She left her freaking panties behind, so you could think of her in a sexual way. She knows that there were clothes sometimes they would fall, but they do fall, so that... he's foreign, so his writing here is a little off, so bear with me here. He says, she left her underwear behind. My common sense says, of course, she left them on purpose. She knows that where the clothes sometimes are supposed to fall, but they do fall, so there, of course, is another thing for me to overthink and doubt. And now I got her underwear, and she's got my clothes, so a reason for us to see each other again. See? Women always leave shit behind, and you relationship guys know this, at your place. It's always an excuse to come back, you know? Or if it's the first couple dates and a girl really likes you, she'll leave shit around your place to guarantee she can come back. Ooh, I left this thing behind. Can I stop by? And that can be both good or bad depending on the situation. Again, I was just so confused and a little scared for Emily in this state. I had been thinking that she was on drugs that night. She was that unlike herself, and I'm even debating if I should ask Sarah about it, but I shouldn't put her in that position and pull a mark on her. It's not your problem. She'll be fine. I'm also that naive that I unblocked Emily on everything because I genuinely thought that she would reach out with an apology for showing up drunk in my place. The old Emily would have. I also noticed she changed her Instagram a lot, removed her bio, deleted almost every picture. She has this cute and quirky feed. She has 2 old pictures of her, delete all pictures of other people, and pictures of me, except for one of us together from a holiday from 2 years ago we both had declared as the most fun time in our lives. I felt like I was making a tiny progress, but now I can't stop thinking about her again. Dude, that's exactly what she wanted. That's exactly what she wanted. That was her intention. From showing up to leaving her freaking panties behind. Women are very fucking good at these types of things. Get in the guy's head. And also, she knew what she was doing with your best friend. You can't forget that. It wasn't an accident. And I don't believe half the shit she said. But the truth is, I really miss Emily. Smack. Don't do it. So much. She really is one kind of a person. I've always realized how lucky I have been having her in my life as much, and I've hated her and resented this past month, seeing her on Friday and remembering how she'd cry to her parents. I hate seeing her like this. It made me feel good or content thinking about her hurting from her decisions and destroying her life with Mark. I felt like she deserved it for her making me hurt so much. Now I feel some sort of resentment, but I just worry I'm afraid for her more now than ever. It's not your problem. Now, again, he's with her 5 years. It's hard to switch off, but still. Don't be like so many guys that takes the girl back that did them wrong, and this shit will happen again. And if he takes her back after what she did with the best friend, he deserves what's coming to him. I admit when she squeezed my hand in the car, I get a tingle of butterflies in my stomach thinking about it and our time together, then I feel worried. This guy sounds more like a chick. I don't want her to self-destruct or feel bad or guilty for the rest of her life. She won't. She'll move on. Trust me. We're only human. We make mistakes. I'm inclined to believe that Mark was abusive, which actually makes me want to press charges to punish him for what he did to Emily. And she felt stuck in dealing with this herself because of his threats and fear of losing everything. But then again, she did console him and not me when things came to a head. Yes, pay attention to a girl's actions. I keep going in circles, and I feel her visit on Friday was just a little manipulative. You think? Her showing up soaking wet, leaving her underwear, acting so weird. But then for a few minutes, I felt like not caring about the whole thing, only having her in my life as a partner again. Smack! No. So I'm thinking in circles. Go no contact and try to be strong. Reaching out to her, having an honest, all-on-the-table talk. Maybe try to work things and see if we can move forward. Or just be the bigger man and meet her and end things in a way that in some way relieve her of the guilt so she won't beat herself up or beat herself down about this whole thing and regret her whole life. Even if it means me lying or downplaying some of the things, so at least I cannot worry about her. Stop worrying. She is not helpless. She's a grown-ass adult. She'll be fine. As you can see, fellow Redditors, I'm so very confused and clueless right now and hoping, like the last time, someone will come along with advice that will help me see the right way forward. Well, after that long-ass thing, you want some advice? Here's the advice. Don't get back with her. Yes, she did all that on purpose to get her in your head and make you think about her, showing up at the freaking door soaking wet, changing, leaving her freaking panties there in your house, holding your hand in the car, all this types of stuff. It was done on purpose. I also don't buy everything her friend was saying, because her friend obviously is trying to help her out. Although interesting, the friend was messaging him and flirting with him. Shocker there. But no, all that bullshit went on for a year, and her actions told you everything. And I don't believe so much of what she said. There's more going on there. And so you just can't trust somebody like that. And I get his emotions are a roller coaster. Fair is understandable. But he goes back with her. Eventually, the same shit is going to happen again. You don't take back a cheater. And let's just say for argument's sake, she didn't sleep with the guy. Good luck there. Still, there's a lot of shady shit going on. She wasn't being honest with you. And it will come back to haunt you down the road. And I don't want that to happen. But at the end of the day, this guy, it's his life. So he's got to make a choice. And if he takes her back and gets burned, he's got no one to blame but himself. Okay? End of freaking story. So anyway, guys, that was the update to the situation. As you can always count on with these stories, there's always drama. But thought you'd like to hear about that, and we shall see if things continue on with the part 3. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me just think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.